Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cympire Cyber Talks. Today we have Warren Stein, our CRO, who will have a chat with us. How are you, Warren?
Very good, Javier. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for being with us and taking your time. So let's talk about a little bit about yourself. Who is Warren? How long have you been here with us at Cympire?
So I've been in Cympire for a little bit more than 6 months now, finding my feet. When I joined Cympire, I said to our CEO, said to Yaniv, I said, I want something which is relevant and we can solve a major problem in the world. All the companies I've worked with before have really tried to take the best of breed approach, a different approach, if you will, in kind of a disruptive technology to solve a problem. And this is what we do. And I'm very, very excited to be in the company in a very, very exciting and ever-changing space in the market.
Oh, how about the team? How do you find the team here at Cympire?
Well, I think we're like the United Nations, I say. We have people from all over the place. I'm originally from South Africa, and I have a teammate that she's German, and someone else is from Russia, and you of course are from Spain. So yeah, it's always good, to have a drink for people from all over the world, and I think we all bring the best of our origins and think very, very creatively. So I think it's fantastic.
Indeed. So do you have any favorite member of the team so far?
Any favorite, sorry? Member of the team? I love all my children the same. That's what I was always told. So I think we get on I think we all complement each other very well. So that's pretty cool.
That's great. I feel the same. So talking about yourself, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do in your free time?
I like to be outdoors. I like to be outdoors a lot. I run, which is maybe it's a necessary hobby, but I like to be outdoors. I live in quite a rural area, so it's very nice to run in the fields where I live in. And I like to camp. Camping is one of my favorite hobbies. I have 4 young children, and it's always good to get into the outdoors in the desert and see the stars. I call it a million-star hotel. Yeah, this is
That's right. That's right. So, what do you think of the current situation of cybersecurity in the world? We've seen some major cyber attacks like the Electronic Arts source code hack or the McDonald's case that recently happened in the US, South Korea and Taiwan. What can you tell us about the current situation or the context of the market?
Look, I think the biggest challenge in the cybersecurity space at the moment is it's an incredibly dynamic space. Things are changing on a daily basis. Exploits are fast and furious, and I think it's a big challenge. In the world of if you look at cybersecurity and the whole trifecta of people, processes, and tools, we see that there are a lot of tools out there doing some automation. Processes in the form of best practices have been largely accepted by organizations today, but we very much see that the people are kind of being left behind, and we certainly believe that that's a challenge that needs to be tackled.
So recently, IBM published a study that said that it takes an average of 280 days to identify and contain a data breach. How is this possible?
Well, someone told me once, you don't know what you don't know. And I think that, again, in this dynamic world where people are inundated with so much work. And look, take a SOC team, for example. They suffer from the classic alert fatigue in front of a video wall all day long and waiting for those moments. But again, we have a huge challenge in the world today. There's just not enough cyber professionals out there. There's a deficit of some 4 million, at least, that we know of, and these teams need to be trained more effectively. I think that is definitely one of the problems.
So, what would you say are the key challenges any CISO might face currently?
Look, I mentioned before that cyber professionals are hard to find, certainly hard to train and hard to retain. And let's think about it. Let's look at a SOC team, for example, which the Security Operations Center, the heart of the security program in an organization. many of the team are very, very junior. So they come in very, very green. They come in maybe with some theoretical knowledge of some course they did, could have been 3 months, 1 month, or something to that effect. But they don't really have experience in being under attack, if you will. And I think this is one of the biggest challenges of CISOs and SOC teams today.
So what would you say will be one of the ways to tackle that challenge?
Well, I think that you have to accept that these teams need to train. It's very, very important that these teams are able to train in real world examples and on a continuous basis, I must say. This is what I would definitely suggest, and in the form of cyber ranges, if you will. This would be a great idea.
So you mentioned cyber range. What is it? What is a cyber range?
So a cyber range essentially, traditionally, we said cyber ranges have been around for some time. And for the deep pocket government style organizations would typically take very, very heavy infrastructure. And they would create a simulator, if you will, which would be able to simulate, both IT and OT infrastructures, and allow the analysts to actually train in a manner which kind of mimics the reality, using tools that they're familiar with, looking at attack vectors, which are very, very relevant. Today, cyber ranges have really, really evolved, especially those who have gone the cloud route. And they've allowed teams to be able to train in a very, very safe, simulated environment using the power of the cloud, and essentially can train wherever they are, so that the trainees and the SOC analysts will be indeed ready for the attacks, and will really understand because they will have the muscle memory and be prepared for those moments.
Nice. So just to summarize, somehow, if you will have to write a tweet about it, what will be the benefits or main outcomes of using cyber range in a tweet?
Look, at the end of the day, a cyber range will allow you to develop the cyber posture from the human element in your organization, which is obviously, striving for that cyber resilience, but really focusing on the human side.
So the FBI issued a flash alert a few weeks ago that APT actors were exploiting vulnerabilities in Fortinet's firewall to cause damage in the US, amongst others, causing, of course, millions in damages. What impact can training have on these kind of events?
So I want to assume that we all concede that training is important, but I want to add another layer to that training. Training needs to be continuous. The content that's provided in cyber ranges needs to be current, needs to be relevant. Just the same as someone who does, for example, CISSP examination, they're still required to do, to keep up to date with CPEs and keep current, because it's a very, very dynamic domain. So continuous training and understanding, the different types of threats and the different types of vulnerabilities on a constant basis will ensure that, again, that the muscle memory of those trainees will come into effect, and that on match day, if you will, on D-Day, they'll be ready. I'm a sports fan, for example. So I love to use a sports analogy. So, we're now in the midst of the Euro competition, and the teams are all out there, and your favorite team is playing on the field. But let's agree, Javier, that essentially 90% of the time that those teams are playing, they're really training. They're training to be at their best on match day. And it's the same for any type of training. And so continuous training will allow those analysts to be able to detect, respond, and remediate. And that's the job at the end of the day, in real time, on D-Day when the attack happens.
Well, that's great. Well, Warren, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your advices here with us today. And hope to talk to you soon.
Anytime. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Take care.